Are you a 20-year-old? Are you unsure in terms of where to start on your journey towards financial independence? In this week's episode, I'll give you a list of 10 financial goals that you need to hit while you're in your 20s. You do not want to miss this episode. Hi, welcome to the Financial Dispensary with me, Dr. G. In this week's episode, I'm going to give you a list and a walkthrough of 10 financial goals that you need to hit while you're in your 20s. And for those of you that want to stick around till the end and are overachievers, I'll give you a bonus 11th goal that you can try and aim for while you're in your 20s. So let's get stuck in. So, the first goal, very importantly, is to learn the lingo. Unfortunately, our schooling systems is just not set up to educate and help you to achieve your financial goals and giving you the skills and the tools necessary to be able to achieve those goals. Hence why it's very important from a very young age to embrace a lifelong learning, that you are curious, that you ask questions, and that you just try and figure things out as you go along. So the first very important goal is just to embrace a culture of lifelong learning, specifically aimed at your financial planning. Unfortunately, as I said, you won't find it anywhere else, and it's not going to be given to you. So the only way to do it is the DIY route. Financial goal number 2 that you need to hit is to create a savings habit. While you're still fairly young, although you might not earn a large income or salary, your living expenses should also still be fairly low. Most of us, as we go through from the teenage phase into adulthood, is still fairly dependent on adults. So you have that additional support structure. So your expenses should be fairly low because you don't have a lot of commitments and hopefully also don't have a lot of dependence. So I've seen this time and time again. While you're still young, if you earn an income and you don't have a lot of expenses, in theory, you can, as a percentage, you can save quite a large proportion of your salary or income towards savings. So as an example, even if you earn only 3,000 Rand a month, maybe your fixed expenses are only 1,000 Rand a month, which is your discretionary spend, which means in theory you could save 2,000 Rand of that 3,000, which is 66% of your income, which is a fantastic number. And then obviously over time, as your income increases, to try and maintain that savings threshold. Remember, as a minimum, you would want to save 15% only for retirement. So if you can get to a stage where you try and save 20% of your income, that would be fantastic and you'll be well on your way towards financial independence. Financial goal number 3 that you need to hit. And this might be a bit odd, but you need to buy your first car. While you're still you is still very kind of dear and important to you. So while you're still in this kind of transition stage from child to adulthood, spoil yourself and buy yourself new wheels. Again, I've seen this many times, is that it's a very nice kind of look forward factor if you can create a saving structure or plan in place to buy yourself your first vehicle or car. It brings immense sense of pride, of satisfaction, and obviously, because it's a vehicle, a lot of independence as well. So put the plan in place. In future episodes, I'll give you a rundown in terms of how to finance your first vehicle purchase, but definitely put that in your to-do list. Goal number 4, learn the importance of insurance. So you've got the car, please remember to insure it. Hopefully you won't get into a nasty accident prior to insuring the vehicle, but it's important that you understand from a very early age the balance between investments or your assets and insurance and how these two play off against one another. So while you're still young and you don't have a lot of assets, the role of insurance is very, very important because you don't have a plan B. You don't have assets to fall back onto. So understand and learn the importance of insurance while you're still in your 20s. Which ties in very nicely to tip and goal number 5 that you need to do in your 20s, which is invest and protect your biggest asset that you have. And no, I'm not referring to goal number 4, the new car that you just bought. I'm referring to you, your ability to earn income. If you had to sit down and calculate and add up all the amount of salary and income you'll still earn for the rest of your working life, and you discount that back to future value, get one big check now, you'll see it will be a massive, massive amount. So your biggest asset at the moment is your ability to earn income into the future. And heaven forbid, if something had to happen to you, and because of sickness, injury, or some other health condition, you are unable to earn that income, that will dramatically affect your financial future. So, goal number 5 is to invest in an insurance policy. The best one is an income protection policy, maybe coupled with a sickness benefit. Again, in future episodes, I'm going to go deeper in terms of how to choose the correct kind of insurance match for you. But please be in a position that if the most unforeseen event happens, that you are at least protected and that your future income is protected and insured. Which again ties into goal number 6. So again, might not be something that might be very high on your kind of to-do list, but please draft a last will and testament. I know you don't have a lot of assets nor a lot of things that you can bequeath to people, but again, there's numerous free templates available online. You can ask us for a free version, but just sit down, write out your first last will and testament, sign it, make sure that you keep a copy of the original, and just get in that habit of record keeping and getting your affairs in order. So I know while you're in your 20s, you all think that you are immune and superheroes, but the reality is death is inevitable. So whether it happens when you're 100 or when it happens when you're 20, your last will and testament does play a very big part in that. Goal number 7, understanding the different marital regimes. So in your 20s, it's probably unlikely that you're already married, but maybe you are in a long-term kind of relationship, and the prospects of a potential marriage forward is on the cards. So where I'm based in South Africa, there's it's divided into 2 big kind of buckets. The one is civil marriage, which is driven by legal and contracts, and all the others. So to start on the others, these are things like civil union, which is a same-sex marriage, if it's a customary or traditional marriage, or a religious marriage. So there's certain traditions or religions that fall into that category, and the ones that are driven by contract, again, is divided into 2 broad categories: in community of property and out of community of property. So if you don't sign any paperwork, by default you're married in community of property, which means what yours is yours and what's mine is mine. Joking. What's yours is yours and what's mine is also yours. It's effectively where assets and liabilities are shared between the 2 spouses. So ideally, this is a marital regime that's usually not recommended anymore. Hence why the second option, which is out of community of property, is more the preferred option. And then when looking at out of community of property, you again have the 2 main options. So with the accrual or without the accrual. With the accrual means that the fact that it's out of community of property means that everything that you brought into the marriage, the assets, liabilities, are excluded, but during the marriage, with the residual, it means effectively you share the good and the bad. So assets and liabilities. And the extreme option is out of community of property without the accrual, which means that what's yours is yours prior and mine is mine prior to the marriage. So what we bring in is separate, and even while we are married, it still remains separate. So get some legal and some professional opinion in terms of which marital regime might work the best for you. Also, please do understand that the reality is that while you're standing in the aisle, you're obviously not thinking about divorce, but the reality is divorce is a reality in the world that we're operating in today. Hence why allocating sufficient time and energy on deciding and having open and honest and frank discussions with regards to which marital regime will be the most appropriate is a very important thing to have with your future partner. Let's move on to goal number 8, which is get a basic hospital plan. So again, where I am based in South Africa, our healthcare system is divided into 2 rough buckets: private and public. Public healthcare is provided by the state, And although there's pockets of excellence in our public healthcare, it's not always world class. Where the private sector or the private healthcare sector in South Africa is world class. And again, while you're in your 20s and while you have hopefully not a lot of other liabilities and debt, etc., it is important to get into that habit, and it ties into that other goal and understanding the importance of insurance, just to get a basic hospital plan. That in the event of something very unforeseen happens, that you can get world-class attention, world-class medical care, and hopefully make a full recovery in a short space of time to continue a journey towards financial independence. So I do understand that hospital plans, medical aids are very expensive in South Africa. In my view, it's a given. We don't know in terms of how the National Health Insurance or NHI will look in the future, but for the time being, at the date of doing this recording, getting a basic hospital plan is a must. Goal number 9 that you need to work towards: trade shares, currencies, crypto in your personal capacity. So again, this might be a bit of a goal that you need to work towards, but I'll tell you and explain to you in terms of why it's important. What I want you to do is I want you to invest and play around with your own money, and hopefully you'll get some learnings out of this. So one learning that I want you to achieve by going through this process is that it's very, very difficult. And the reason why it's very, very difficult is because you get very emotional. So although there's a lot of online options in this that try and provide some assistance and guidance, although you might have a trading plan, so a very systematic way of when to buy and when to sell, inevitably what happens is your emotions take over. And remember, your emotions are the key driver in terms of how you make decisions. And the two emotions that always pop up are fear and greed. So when a specific share, currency, crypto goes up, and you don't own it, there's that fear of missing out, and subsequently also when it comes down, there's this you fear the loss. The loss is very real to you. So understanding that it's very difficult to manage your own money, and how your emotions play a part in when you manage your own money is very important. I want you to take out that learning. Usually I recommend to people to try it at least. 99.99999% of people will lose money. They will get despondent and inevitably say, you know what, I tried it, but it's really not for me. But I still want you to at least try it. I think you learn a lot from going through that process, even if you learn that your own shortcomings. So at least give it a bash, but at least please just allocate small amounts of money. Don't bet the farm on this goal. The final one: start a business or a side hustle. Again, I think it's very important that irrespective in terms of what industry or profession you decide to venture into, I want you to start a business, even if it's just a side hustle, something separate from your 9-to-5 job. Again, the reason why I want you to go through that learning is that while you're in your 20s, you might have a lot of ideas floating through your head. And remember, the ideas are the seed for future business opportunities. So you'll have a ton of fantastic business ideas in your head, but transferring that idea into a successful business and that execution part thereof is very difficult, and not a lot of people are able to commit to that execution part over a long period. Again, I want you to encourage to at least cultivate that part of your brain, of your life. Try it, see if you like it, see if you have the grit and the determination to commit and push through. But I want you to at least try it. There's nothing as self-empowering knowing that you've created your own business and being kind of a self-made millionaire and you did it all on your own. It really is a fantastic feeling that you get, and I want you to feed into that if you have the necessary skill sets with regards to that. And as I mentioned, those are the top 10 goals that I want you to achieve while you're in your 20s. As I said, I'll give you a bonus tip for those overachievers. So if you're in your 20s and you've ticked off all of these, I definitely want you also to start working on the bonus one, which is start planning your retirement plan. So remember, when it comes to retirement, the single biggest aspect that is important is your time, your investment horizon, the time that you have left till the retirement. Albert Einstein said that the eighth wonder of the world is compound interest, where you have money making money. So the interest, and you earn interest on the interest and interest on the interest. So by starting young, if you start saving when you're 20 years old, and you effectively have a 45-year period till, let's say, age 65 that you want to retire, versus age 25 till 45, which is just 40 years, only slightly less, the difference when you crunch the numbers is enormous. So please start wrapping your head around in terms of how to put a retirement plan in place, what you need to do, how to do it, and at least start the process. Time is on your side while you're in your 20s. So in your 20s, you are carefree, you're still living La Vida Loca, you're still kind of part child and very carefree. So by working systematically through these 10/11 goals, you'll definitely be on your way towards financial independence. And there you have it. Thank you for joining me on this week's episode of the Financial Dispensary with me, Dr. G. Obviously, in future episodes, I'm going to hit all the different decades. So next week is the 30s, then 40s, 50s, 60s, and also one for when you're in your 70s. So if you like the format and the content, please like this video, share this video with your other colleagues and friends. Maybe do a challenge and see how quickly, while you're in your 20s, you can tick off all these 10 goals you need to achieve. My bio and my socials are in the description. So if you want to get some personal airtime with me, you can just go to my website and make a booking directly from there. And that's it. Thank you very much. Until next week, goodbye.